oh, you're only getting sponsorship because you're a woman or you have following. But we talked about it, like social media is work. It is hard work. Like it is every day, hours and posting and communicating and engaging with people. It's a different type of work. And to be honest, I was already pro. And I remember I was with Motul and I want to say 2015 or 2016. And I remember the person in charge of marketing at Motul was a female at the time. And she was trying to tell me to do the modeling stuff or do, the fitness stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want to do any of that. I was already going through so much hard time, being a female and getting slack, like that type of stuff we were talking about. And she's like, well, what's your name on Instagram? She's like, your name is Lady Racer. She goes, you were a lady first. She goes, you're a racer second. She goes, there's nothing wrong with embracing, like your femininity and stuff. She goes, you have an opportunity that none of these men have. She's like, you need to capitalize on it. And I remember it was a woman that was telling me to do all this stuff. And I couldn't believe it because I was like, everything in my head was fighting against being the feminine woman and fighting against all those stereotypes because I wanted all that respect and I wanted results. And she was like, you already have that. She's like, you already have respect. You already have results. Like, she's like, you're already the world's fastest female. She's like, or maybe not yet. Maybe I wasn't yet, but still, it was just like, she's like, you're already respected. She goes, take advantage of this, because she was the one telling me if my social media grew, it's how you get sponsorship. And so I think it was like 2017 or 2018 was the first time I did like a photo shoot. And to this day, that's still the most terrifying thing to me. Put me in a helmet, 200 mile an hour, I'm fine. Put me in a bikini, I'm like terrified. But I remember like my social media started growing because of that. And you still got some negativity from some people, and other people thought it was cool. And it was funny to me because a lot of times it was women that were being negative, like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or oh, this, that, like, you're taking women back. But to me, it was like, if you were a man and you worked really hard to get this Lamborghini, you wouldn't shame them for going out and driving this Lamborghini, but I worked extremely hard on my figure to be a motorcycle racer. And a benefit of that was I look good in a bikini. Like, you're not going to shame me. Like, I'm proud of myself. I feel like I do everything tastefully, but it's like, I'm an athlete. I can be feminine and I can be fast. Like, I can be, sweaty and nasty and gross on a racetrack, and I can still look like a girl. And that was another hurdle of like overcoming it. But the benefit of that is when I honestly did that, I got the attention to grow my social media so I could get more sponsorship, like what you were talking about, Sarah, because the more social media you following you have now, the more sponsorship you get. This rider might win a race and this rider might come in 6th or 7th, but if they have 100,000 more followers, the sponsor's more likely going to go with them because they get more attention and advertising, and it's the world we live in. But, you got to adjust and adapt to the world no matter what it changes. And, it's work, but there's men out there like Josh Heron has, I think, the largest following of any other racer out there. He's a man. He doesn't have bikini photos, but he posts up. It is work and it is a job. But because of that, he's been able to get more sponsorship. So even it works for men and women. You just have to put in work. It doesn't matter, what you want to be successful in, but, social media is a different type of work. I'm sure all you ladies know about that.
We've had this discussion a lot of like, where's the line, and I think that it's like, it's an evolving topic with people feeling like they're able to share more and everyone has their own line. And so I think you just have to feel what's right for you. And you did it after you really showed yourself as a racer. You already had that confidence, and it's not like that's what you led with. It's like, that's what you followed up with.
Yeah. And I guess that's what's, sorry, because that's what I appreciate.
But that was what I wanted, and that's what my personality more so is, which is why I went with that. It was the influence of others that was helpful to me. But I think, as times progress, sometimes like you think about so much change that, from women not wearing bras or women not doing this over the decades in time. And you always get resistance. You always get people that are like, oh my gosh, that's not the norm, but it's, there's always change and there's always pushback when it comes to change. So, I think there's always going to be constantly progressing and more acceptance of females and their bodies and confidence as time goes on. The thing is, more females have to be more confident for it to be more accepted. Because like I said, I felt like I got more pushback from other women than I actually did men. Obviously men were loving it. It was their favorite. But, I just feel like to each their own, whatever your own comfort level is and what makes you happy. I always just try to tell people to be careful because you don't want to regret something. I've had girlfriends of mine that did Playboy and Maxim and other things. And then they try to be a teacher and couldn't get hired as a teacher because it showed up like in their background check, you know? So I don't care what you want to do. When people ask me, I'm like, just be careful. Nothing comes back to get you in the long run.
That's very good advice.
Well, and same thing with like, if you're trying to get sponsorships, you don't want to cross the line with any of your sponsors as well.
Correct. So although when I was overseas in Ireland, German Playboy was there and they were taking photos because there were girls there racing and they asked permission to take a photo. I was like, of me on the grid. I was like, that's the only photo you're getting. I was like, I don't want to be in German Playboy. But it was so funny because to them, I guess like Europe is a lot more progressive than we are. But the fact that German Playboy came to the races to like film that there were women in racing, like I actually kind of thought that was cool because I was like, well, that's cool. Like they're still promoting racing, you know, it's in probably a bigger audience that would have watched the race. And I thought that was fine, but I was like, but I'm not posing for German Playboy.
That's hilarious. No, that's great. It's, you know, being from Poland, I'm very used to nudity. Like that's not, you know, it's not, nudity itself isn't sexualized in a specific way like it is here in America. It's so weird. I feel like we keep going back and forth in America. Keep losing decades here. But at the same time, it is a little, it's weird. While nudity is accepted there, it is not as flaunted either, if that makes sense. Like sexuality isn't as flaunted as it is almost here. Like I feel like
it's the same thing with drinking. Like they don't restrict drinking like we do here. So it's not a big deal. Where here, I feel like if you make something more taboo, then people are going to want it more. Exactly. And I feel like that's kind of how it is here versus other countries just don't care as much because it's, like you said, the norm. So it's not a big deal.